Did you know that this mulberry tree is going to produce fruit for the next 100 years? Some varieties are going to produce fruit for up to 300 years. In the process of making our video and in the process of revising our webpage, ad-free webpage, by the way, go check it out, I just became so impressed with the mulberry tree. Probably the most underappreciated common fruit tree. In this video, I share with you everything I've discovered growing our mulberry trees. You can prune it in any way you want. It grows in any soil. It grows in full sun, can grow in part shade, produces buckets of fruit for an entire lifetime and then some. Check it out and welcome to Happy Lifestyle.
Wait.
Hey everyone, welcome to Happy Lifestyle. This is the channel where we are standing up a 2-acre exhibition garden and turning a normal residential home into a home that's as much off-grid as possible. In this video, we're going to talk mulberry. We're going to talk about harvesting the mulberry. We're going to harvest some fruit today, and we're going to do some strategic pruning right now. Right now is June 2nd. So a little bit of eating, a little bit of pruning, and let's take a look at two native mulberry trees, the only two native mulberry trees of North America. That's the Texas Mulberry and the Red Mulberry. This is a Texas Mulberry. This is a mulberry tree we brought in from Texas just last November 2020. Because we developed the soil real well, we have this incredible growth. This growth right here is just this year. That's a good 12 inches of growth, and she's already fruiting this year, which is really exciting. Texas Mulberry is most common in Texas. It's one of the two native mulberry trees in North America. I can see that the fruit is developing a little further behind the red mulberry. The red mulberry has ripe fruit right now. It is not unusual for young trees to eject the fruit, especially if they're not entirely ready to carry fruit to fruition. This girl was just planted this year. I have no expectations to harvest fruit this year. I really like the branches. The branches are going to be heading like here. This branch right here, I like that one. I like this one that's heading out this way, this girl right here. And this one is going to be up highest, and that's perfect because the sun is out that way. So she's going to act as a fan like this, coming up over here, acting as a canopy, shading the soil. And then over time, what I'll do is start trimming the lower branches and focus on the upper branches. She's staked in very well because she's young. The roots haven't completely engaged the soil. And plants like this and plants like the native plum will grow very top heavy. So it's really important to stake these trees up really well so they have a good support. I have a total of 3 stakes around her. So the wind goes from that direction this way, and we anchor this tree mindful to the direction, the typical direction of the wind. We have a couple of companion plants around here. One is chamomile that's grown really well here, full sun. This is another cool little plant. I have no idea what it is, but what I like about it is that it's going to grow around the trunk of this tree, and that is going to shade this trunk. Shading trunks is very good. There are times when trunks get too blasted by sun, and that's why companion plants like this, anise hyssop is awesome, and also elderberry, although you want to plant an elderberry a little further away from the plant. We have some Texas mulberry in pots behind this plant. We also have a tomato plant that's a volunteer. I don't really see these plants as competition to the mulberry because the mulberry root system is very vigorous, and we're on a very tall, deep pile of awesome soil. These roots are going to drive, the roots of the mulberry are going to drive downward, whereas roots from these sort of plants don't drive downward a number of feet. The proof is in the pudding, and her growth is just off the chart. Texas Mulberry. So this is our red mulberry, and this is Forrest Gump. In earlier videos, you can see how its trunk was really funky. We spent a little bit of time straightening out that trunk. By the way, this right here is some bamboo that's covering a pawpaw tree. Pawpaw tree is a little further back in the tree line, so that is not part of the red mulberry. That's his trunk right there, looking pretty damn straight. And what I like about this mulberry is how the limbs are starting to grow exactly how we want them to grow. You see how we can now pick right here. Some of this will still be cleared out, this lower stuff, but here's another limb. We're going to start doing the canopy thing. Because we want to promote a canopy type action on this tree, we want it to grow laterally out here and out here, sideways. We don't want it to shoot up 30 feet. I ain't getting on no ladder. So we're going to do a little bit of harvesting, and then we're going to do a little bit of pruning. Let's get at it. So I think this is one of my better branches to show you how the fruit does not develop at the same time. You have red ones that are unripe, and you have black ones that are ripe. So throughout this tree, we have a combination of red fruit and black fruit. This is a wonderful fruit. It tastes just like a raspberry. Wow, that's really tasty. The fruit aren't that big. Remember, the tree is still young, and it may be indicative of the red mulberry. They may not be the biggest fruit in the world. This tree is also very young, and I got a feeling, a hypothesis is that the fruit will get bigger as she matures. Right now, we're just very thankful for being able to pick fruit off of this. I see no bird action in there. I do see, what happened to our ladybug? There's a ladybug. That's a busy ladybug. Little ADD action. So this is not the world's biggest harvest. Maybe I shouldn't even show this and do a bullshit video like them other videos and show you a big basket of it. I'm really proud of our red mulberry. This is her first year fruiting really well. When we purchased her in 2018, it was a small stick. She's no longer a small stick. Let's see, about 3 years. You know, at about the 5-year point, we're gonna have pails of mulberry. Sort of like the sweet scarlet gumi too, and I don't mean to always defer to that. Just over time, they just become stronger and stronger plants and produce more and more fruit. Really tasty fruit. Tastes wonderful. Tastes identical to a raspberry. Zero tartness though. Not sugary sweet, but sweet. Juicy, not wet juicy like the sweet scarlet gumi. Kind of juicy like a blueberries juicy. You know, it's not like watery juicy. Definitely not dry. On our ad-free webpage, it's ad-free as of 2021. We also describe how and where to plant mulberry trees. You don't want a mulberry tree over like where you park a car, a parking space, or like a walkway, because the fruit stains really good. See that? It looks like I voted in Iraq. Looks like I voted 3 times in Iraq. I guess I cheated. Anyways, yeah, it looks like I voted in Iraq. So that is what your driveway is going to look like, or a walkway is going to look like. So you want the mulberry off to the side. The other cool thing about the mulberry, it's super adaptable. You can do anything with this damn tree. Like all fruit trees, it's going to do better in full sun. So while it's very adaptable, then the question is, how much fruit do you want to get from it? If you want to maximize fruit, then you want to maximize the sunlight that the mulberry tree gets. Now we're going to do a little strategic pruning, and that's because the tree has a tendency to grow upward, some limbs do, and I want to promote growth on limbs that are going to be right above my head. I want to create a canopy type situation in here where I can pick fruit right just above my head. So I want to just emphasize about the canopy action and focusing on limbs that grow laterally. This is a perfect example. This limb, this branch right here has got some thickness. It's filling in a space here, going into a shady area. So this is going to go that way, and then we'll terminate it here as it goes into a shady area, but it's capturing the sun that way. So this is kind of like our main branch that's going to fill in this side of the tree. Think of the tree as maybe like 4 corners. This is definitely going to be an anchor branch for this corner. And how do I harvest? Right here. No ladder. So no ladder harvest. The other cool thing about creating the canopy action is as this branch fills out and gets thicker and gets stronger, it's going to create shade on the ground. That shade reduces the number of weeds that are going to grow on the ground, also keeps moisture in the soil, shades the soil, creates kind of a cooler environment underneath the tree. It's a full-blown canopy, except it's a managed canopy. It's not a canopy where you let the tree do whatever it wants to do, which is fine, but we're going to manage it so we have a flatter canopy. In this profile shot, you're going to see the branches that I want to keep trimmed and do this trimming action right now while we're harvesting. And that's those limbs, those young new branches that are shooting straight up in the air. Someplace at about the 7-8 foot height, you want your branches going out laterally. The other advantage to pruning right now is that these young, fresh limbs are taking energy away from fruit production. Over time, I've learned to be more and more aggressive with pruning. They grow so strong that you don't have to pussyfoot too much. You don't have to pussyfoot at all with your pruning. Just prune them to promote the sort of growth that you want. Don't hold back. I might keep one, the strongest one, but terminate it to see if it goes sideways. Here I've got a whole bunch of limbs together. I'm going to reduce that. Again, always promoting sideways growth. The other advantage of pruning and opening up the center is you allow air and sun into your plant. Air circulation and sunlight into the center of your plant. That helps the branches that are down sun, for lack of a better term, that would be normally shaded by the limbs in the center. This is going to be our keeper branch right here. So this one shooting straight up in the air, substantially reduced. We want the energy to go to thickening the branch that's parallel to the ground. So we're going to get rid of these light ones here, or the young branches. Open up the center. Branches pointing downward can go. We don't need downward growth. This branch down here is shooting kind of downward. We'll get rid of it after we harvest the fruit. It's actually full of fruit. This, I might shoot out over there towards the camera. I really don't have a nice limb going in that direction. Limbs pointing downward are going to get trimmed. Limbs underneath The canopy is going to get trimmed. We don't need limbs down in this area. It's going to be very shady. You're going to have less fruit production, and eventually you just want to shade the soil, have the soil stay moist longer, reduce the number of weeds that we have. Something like a mulberry is going to always shoot limbs out from the trunk. You're going to have a little bit of accumulation of plant material, and you can turn that into soil fairly quick. At least turn it into wood chips or plant chips. Make sure you don't cut your hand. I've been doing this for 100 years. So this helps the plant material break down quicker. Recycling the prune material back into the earth. This will prevent weeds from growing, stuff like that. Bottom line is we're really focused on limbs that are parallel to the soil, not limbs that are shooting straight up in the air. You'll need a ladder for those. You'll never get the fruit. Awesome for birds. If that's what you want, you can let the tree grow naturally like that. But these are for fruit production, so we need the fruit manageable. We don't want to be up on ladder, blah, blah, blah. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Leave a comment if you have one. So far, I'm able to answer any questions people write. And take care of yourself. Take care of someone else if you can. Love you. Peace. Take care.